The impossible just became possible. That's something speedrunners realized a month ago, because one runner managed to beat Minecraft from start to finish in under a minute.
Let's fucking go!
This insane accomplishment took years, and the journey from start to finish is one of hardship, controversy, and sheer insanity. This is the story of the speedrunners that redefined the minute barriers, breaking our understanding of what is possible. Enjoy. Let's set the stage. It's February 2020. Minecraft speedrunning was still in its infancy, with runners focusing on running set seed, category based around running a scouted route on a known seed. The world record was 5:13, set by the Canadian speedrunner The Sizzler in the version 1.8. The competition at the time was, however, not fierce. World records were being traded between the French speedrunner Mathox, the Swiss runner Mac, the mentioned Sizzler, and the Canadian runner Illumina. The seed they were running at the time, nicknamed the Snow Seed, was the latest seed in the category, used for its favorable aspects. You see, the seed had everything speedrunners needed at the time: a source of iron, food, and wool for beds, and a close fortress in the nether. Furthermore, Stronghold was literally right under the spawn, accessible through a small hole in the ground. The biggest challenge of this seed in particular came at the end of the run. The Ender Dragon in this version charges the players at random intervals, something speedrunners use to their advantage by blowing up beds right before it attacks you, dealing massive damage. But unfortunately, practice is anything but that easy. In real runs, the dragon rarely charges you enough times, making it hard to kill using beds. In addition to this, there was another RNG factor speedrunners had to think about: the end towers situated on the island. They also had to be accessible to the speedrunner, as they functioned more or less as beds. This meant that the odds of actually getting a usable end, where you could damage a dragon, was immensely low. This massive hurdle might explain why the number of world records were so low, but one speedrunner decided that the odds were simply another hurdle he had to cross over in order to achieve his goals. With the world record being 5:13, he thought a sub 5 was possible on the seed. If he could break this barrier, he could possibly segment himself as a legend. This player was Illumina, and on the 11th of February 2020, he would do another stream, stretching hours, chasing that one dream. And as the hours went by, he once more loaded into the Snow Sea.
Sub 5 in game time. Sub 5.
Illumina had done it, lowering the world record from a 5:13 all the way down to a 4:56. His accomplishment elevated his status to new heights, earning him millions of views on YouTube, showing just how insane of a feat he managed to pull off. To appreciate his level of skill and dedication, it's important to take note of the route he played. He played a really high rolly route, one that focused on crystals doing the main damage to the dragon and not the actual beds. This route forced him to only collect 2 beds in the overworld instead of more, but in return he lost more runs in the end section due to bad end tower spawning. But his gamble paid off, and his achievement made him one of the all-time greats. The next barrier to be breached was the sub 4 barrier, an even harder dream to reach for the many hopeful speedrunners. In fact, it was so hard, achieving it was impossible on the current Snow Seed. sub 5 was the best it could do, as the natural limitations of the seed, such as the time it took to smelt iron, kill blazes, and defeat the dragon, was just too long. What speedrunners needed was a completely new seed, one that had 12 Eye of Enders in the end portal. This would remove the need to collect blaze rods and ender pearls, making the route itself even more linear. With a clear goal in mind, seed finders got to work, looking at seeds day in and day out. Their journey took them to 114, the village update. This version gave speedrunners new opportunities, one of them being a completely new seed, capable of bringing the world record to previously unbelievable heights. This is the Desert Seed, a world with an insanely linear route. But if you know anything about Minecraft speedrunning, it's that linear routes are often plagued by RNG, and in this case, that problem is elevated to an insane degree. But before we get to that, the player first spawns in, loots a buried treasure, mines some gravel for flint, and then the RNG part comes in. What you need to know, and what makes this seed so terrifying to speedrun, is the fact that it requires the speedrunner to obtain a minimum of 7 obsidian in the old world to even attempt to enter the nether. If you want to have a shot at world record, that increases to 17 obsidian. Now, simple, right? There are 3 blacksmiths in the village, here, here, and here. The chance to obtain the obsidian should be high, but for some reason, 114.4 has a problem. Blacksmith chests are given random loot every time you open it up in a new world. This means that for set seed runners running the Desert Seed, they are confronted by what is essentially gambling. You load into the world, play it for a minute, and only then know if you can reset due to not obtaining obsidian. Here are the odds of obtaining that obsidian every time you load into the world. This was a seed that only the most dedicated could even attempt, so it would come to no one's surprise when a known community member one day suddenly posted a new video on their channel. This is Silliest, and he had done it. After looting the buried treasure, he ran up towards the blacksmiths, getting 4 from the first one, 7 from the second, and 7 from the last. Building his nether portal, he got ready for the nether, which he cruised through. The last section of the run was upon him, and he knew he couldn't waste this chance. Entering the end, the timer had reached 3:06, and Silliest would go on to make Minecraft speedrunning history, performing a beautiful 5-bed, segmenting himself as the first person to ever beat Minecraft in under 4 minutes.
I just got a sub 4. I literally just got a sub 4.
A feat showcasing an absolute insane amount of dedication and sheer mental strength to push through the endless resetting. Minecraft was changing. New innovations, new players, and even grander missions was coming to the speedrunning scene, and the Desert Seed still had plenty of potential. You just needed to be patient and dedicated enough to grind for it, and as the months went by, some started looking at sub 3 as a real possibility on the seed. All you needed was to obtain 17 obsidian in the first blacksmith chest, giving you a 0.1217% chance to enter the nether each time you load into the world. Let's put that into perspective. That means, on average, you would have to run the seed 891 times before you even entered the nether and had a chance at the world record. Since you looted the blacksmith chest after run 1 minute, that's once every 14 hours of non-stop gameplay. This was now a race few could join, and one I also started joining, trying to achieve the first sub 3, running the seed tens of hours every day for weeks on end. All the while, one person was grinding away, a known runner called Minecraft Renderer. He rapidly improved his times from a 3:15, 3:08, and then finally 2:56. But wait, for this part, I need to take a step back. Minecraft Renderer's achievement was insane. The first sub 3, a coveted achievement few could ever dream of, and one that took time. In fact, it took so much time that Minecraft Renderer would cheat to obtain it. Yes, the first sub 3 was cheated, a fact no one would know about until 2 years later. We now know the first sub 3 happened in a different version, played on a totally new seed. This is the Star Clay seed, one of the first seeds found in the version 1.16, and one that the player Rattles played a lot. Rattles grinded the Desert Seed alongside Monk Revenger, but after his cheated sub 3, she headed to the new seed to lower her times. This took her to the Star Clay seed. Sadly, most of the recordings of these attempts are lost, including her sub 3. At the time, she didn't think her new PB was anything to brag about, as it wasn't the first sub 3, and ultimately, it got deleted following a rebrand. Instead, here is a reenactment of that PB, mostly following the same steps. The Star Clay seed is to this date the most complicated seed in my opinion. The overworld, as you can see, is a mixture of parkour and complicated mechanical actions that has to be done in quick succession. This would pose no challenge for Rad, being a long-time set seed runner as she cruised through it, picking up the beds and looting blacksmiths to obtain her obsidian. The most unique part about this seed came next, an underground room portal exposed through a hole. For this, Rad had to manipulate some water to make the nether portal, an easy task in theory, but doing it fast, well, that was an entirely different issue. Now in the nether, Rad parkoured across the terrain, jumped down to reach lava level, and performed multiple head hitters to increase her speed. All she needed now was to build her exit portal, enter the end, and perform a one cycle. Sub 3 acquired, a feat that will forever be lost, stricken from the records. It's June 2021, over a year since Illumina's sub 5. In this period, speedrunners have lowered the time from a sub 5 all the way down to a sub 3. To lower it even more, speedrunners went through multiple seeds, from the Dolphin Sister seed, the Dolphin seed, and finally the Tiger seed. The next one on the list was the Gravel seed, named after its iconic requirement of needing gravel to enter the nether. This meant you had a 10% chance of entering the nether if you reset the moment you didn't get any flint from the first gravel mine. But this would not stop a certain player, the Israelian speedrunner Rayo. He didn't see the gravel seed's RNG as something that would stop him on his quest for being the best. The world record at the time was a 208 by the British runner Magnetic Maybe, and Rayo was determined to lower this. He grinded, pushed the seeds to its absolute limits, and the results spoke for themselves. First, he got a 206, then 204, and finally a few more days, 201. It's now July. Rayo was once more playing the seed. He had the speed, he had the skill, and all he would need was luck. The luck to carry him to victory. The overworld of the gravel seed was insanely fast, consisting mostly of looting the blacksmith, followed up by obtaining the 4 beds in quick succession. Rayo swiftly navigated through the seed. His familiarity with the layout was clear to see, his skill and raw mechanics miles ahead of his competitors. Looting the second blacksmith, he had his nether portal. Luckily, luck was on his favor, as he obtained the flint first try, giving him an enter of 34 seconds. The nether was up ahead. The route itself was fairly simplistic. Speedrunner mainly had to start off with some parkour, then run in a straight line, finish up with a small drop. But even this was optimized to near perfection by Rayo, who made sure to head hit at every opportunity. Finishing the route was an insanely fast nether portal exit. He entered the end at a comfortable 108. All he would need was for the Ender Dragon to perch. And as he saw the Ender Dragon snap, he knew that this could be it. $158, the last minute barrier in Minecraft. Rayo would usher in what many thought was the last great era of the seed. The next year pushed the category from a 158 down to a 147, 11 whole seconds. Set seed just wasn't progressing at the same rate anymore, and top runners found it incredibly hard to advance the category. Set seed was slowly but surely dying out, as the mechanical skill to stay a world record contender, combined with the outrageous luck needed to get a good run, was one many didn't want to grind for. What the category needed was a miracle, a phenomenon that could change the tides against the inevitable death of Setseed. Something revolutionary. And just as speedrunners started giving up, that change happened. This is One Shot, a strat so out of this world. Understanding it by watching it is impossible. It's the accumulation of hundreds of hours of theory crafting and experimenting. It works by abusing the fact that an arrow shot from a bow deals damage based on how fast it flies. By shooting the arrow inside the dragon's hitbox, you're launched away, whilst the arrow itself hits the body of the dragon, dealing massive damage as it recoils off the hitbox itself. If done frame perfectly, it deals over 200 health, killing the dragon instantly. This strat was the breakthrough speedrunners needed, shifting the meta completely. But no matter how perfect the strat is, it's only as good as the seed it's used on. What set seed players needed to focus on was a seed that prioritized entering the end, one that could give a reliable way to obtain a bow and an arrow. And as the search began, some started theorizing that a sub 1 could be a reality. As the days went by, the search brought them to the past, because over a year earlier, one seed was actually found. The Ravine seed, originally used with the intent of grinding the enter end category. This seed was perfect for several reasons, but if you want to summarize it in one sentence, it's this: you can enter the end in under 14 seconds. So, with one shot ready and a new seed found, the ambitious runners looking to completely break the category once and for all got to work. It's at this point one person entered the picture. This is hanabiyaki, a long-time set seed runner who quickly saw the potential of both One Shot and the Ravine seed, and it honestly didn't take long for Hanabi to get on a run. And what a run it was. He spawned in and got to work mining down a few blocks. Falling down, he clutched on some cobwebs, looted a chest to obtain a sword, and started killing skeletons. This is probably the worst part of the seed. It's an absolute grind to reset. You mine down, clutch on the cobweb, and successfully locate and kill skeleton. The first problem arose when you have to think of the fact that the skeleton actually has to spawn, and secondly, it also had to drop an arrow and a bow, which had a 6.37% chance of happening. But if you ended up getting a skeleton and it dropped a bow and an arrow, you were on your way to the end. Now the dragon had to perch, charge you, and that's when you had one shot at the world record. And that's exactly what Hanabi did. 109, a world record of 38 seconds. Setseed had changed forever, and sub 1 was now a reality. The grind brought the world record down slowly, inch by inch. 107 by Ninsla, 106 by Rox, 104.5 by Rattles, and 104.4 by a turtle. It's the end of August 2023, a month since Hanabi's 109, and the runner in question was still hard at work, streaming his attempt on Twitch live for the world to see, and the journey had been a long one. Illumina put Setseed on the map with this insane mechanical skill. Silliest persevered through the hardest seed in Minecraft, pursuing a dream many thought was impossible due to the odds. Rattles, a true speedrunner whose dedication might have been erased but never forgotten. And Rayo, a man so dedicated, so insane, he dominated Setseed for over 6 months. Hanabi had a lot to live up to, and he was ready for it. He began this fateful run as any other, digging down, clutching on the cobweb to negate fall damage. Obtaining a pickaxe, he ran into the last room of the stronghold, spotted a skeleton, which he swiftly killed. Bow and arrow in hand, he entered the end. This could be it, he thought. This could be the run to finally break the last and final minute barrier.
on, let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Let's go! Sub 1! Yes!
We've come a long way
Yes!
since the day of the pre-1.9 and the snow seed, and Hanabi's achievement is the pinnacle of what it means to speedrun Minecraft. A 3-year journey that I hope you enjoyed.